Okay. What's going on, people? Welcome to the LV Live show. I am LV Live. Please hit that like, share, subscribe button. Once again, I want to thank all the new subscribers for coming by to my channel, man. It is truly, truly appreciated. This is the New York Knicks weekly recap show. Doing your lunchtime LV Live lunchtime special show. Hope everybody's doing well on this lunchtime, man. We're pretty much going to talk about just the progress of the team. We are 16-10 currently, second in the Atlantic Division, and third in the Eastern Conference. So you let me know, Knicks fans, how are you guys feeling right now? Are you guys feeling good? Are you guys feeling optimistic? Are you feeling positive about this team? Or are you concerned? And that's what this is. This is going to be a therapy session, man, to make sure everybody is okay. And 26 games in, Knicks is 16-10. I think we're doing fine. And I think that based on, of course, what the expectations are, right? We had a great season last year, so everybody expects for this team to pretty much take off where they left off at. We are better in a lot of ways, right? Of course, we know we're top 5 in the league in offense, right? Of course, we're kind of mid-pack as far as defense goes in the league. So, a lot of people feel that we should be a lot more better than what we are right now currently. But kind of like how I played on the show the other day, I played that short clip of Josh Hart talking about, how it's difficult, right, to, get your team together. And, when guys getting together so late, meaning as far as training camp goes, and they didn't really have a summer to pretty much be able to, work out together. It takes time, right? And I think right now where they're at, 16-10 with 26 games in, third in the East, second in the Atlantic Division, of course, right behind the Boston Celtics. I think they're in a great place, man. I think they're in great striking position. Now, there have been a lot of great things that I thought have happened with this team, along with some concerns. We'll start with the bad news first, right? The concerns are the defense isn't as well as we thought it was going to be. These last couple of games, especially the game last week against Atlanta, really kind of exposed a lot of the weaknesses and a lot of concerns that this team has. And to me, that what we saw in the second half of that Atlanta game was really concerning, right? And then also, too, seeing the lack of bench depth is very, very concerning in a lot of ways for this team. So now you realize holes that we have and things that we need to fix. So going forward, that's the question, right? What do the Knicks do? Do the Knicks make a change? Do the Knicks try to make a trade? So many different questions that people ask, so many different players that, they're interested in the Knicks getting to make this team, primed and ready for a championship run this year. I don't know if that's possible. I'm just being honest with you guys. Because just with the assets the Knicks have, the Knicks don't really have much to give based on everything they gave up for Bridges. And of course, getting Towns, salary cap, second apron, all that stuff, right? It's really, really going to be tough for them to get a top tier premier player. Now you look at what's out there, you look at what the possibilities are of them kind of getting some place to fill in, get some bench help and some depth. It's going to be tough. It is. Because honestly, what I think we're missing more than anything is size, right? We're rolling off 2 6-foot guys. Of course, Precious Achiuwa is about 6'8", 6'9", but you need like 2 more wings that are anywhere between the size of 6'7" to 6'10", that could defend, that could knock down shots, and that's what you need. Of course, can bring energy off the bench. You need that because you're going to be able to you're going to have to match up with a lot of the big time players out there coming off the bench, shall I say. And also, too, if anyone gets in foul trouble on that starting unit, you want to be able to have guys who are going to be able to, rotate in on any given night and really, give a good boost to that second unit. And I think that was the biggest part of losing DiVincenzo and also, too, losing Ihart. Because remember, Ihart came off the bench also. So when you had those guys coming off the bench, you didn't really miss a beat. Even when IQ was here, you didn't skip a beat. The last couple of seasons, our bench unit was one of the best units in the league. So when you made these deals for OG Anunoby, made these deals for Karl Anthony Towns, of course, you made the deal for Bridges, right? You gave up a lot of your cachet, man. You gave up a lot of, for you to be able to make deals down the road. So that's something the Knicks are going to have to get, or shall I say, not even Knicks, front office, Leon Rose and the crew, gonna kind of have to put their heads together and kind of work some magic, man, to try to bring in someone who can really bolster that second unit, because we need help there. That's where we're really hurting, in all honesty. Until we get Mitch back, and also too, it's been the news of Shamit, right? I'll touch on him in a second. So that's been the biggest concern with this team, defensively, and the lack of bench depth, right? And that's really had an impact on this team. But, on a positive note, this team is one of the best offensive teams in the game, right? They have the best duo, in my opinion, and Jalen Brunson, of course, Karl Anthony Towns, the best pick and roll duo in the league. And offensively, we can blow teams out, man, just because of our offensive explosion. And that's all due to Towns. Towns changes everything. And to me, I think he deserves to be in the conversation for MVP consideration, right? So let's go and kind of take a look at Towns. Let's take a look at some of his highlights, man, because he has been having an MVP type of year, right? Look at his stats lines, right? He's averaging just below 25 points a game, 24.8, just below 14 rebounds a game, 13.9. So really he's averaging, I would say, 25 and 14, right? He's shooting over 50% from the field, shooting over 40% from three, and 84% from the free throw line. So he's basically doing 50, 40, 80, almost 90. And that was the biggest thing with him, right? Coming in here, and he's just changed the whole dynamic of this team, man. He really has. And you saw it too when we played Detroit, right? You saw the fact of not having Towns, how much different this team looked. It just did, because offensively, everything was based off of him coming in. The changes we made was based off of him. So we had that 5-out look, and they bringing him in here. Of course, offensively, we're on a different level. But you remove him, it felt like Brunson trying to play hero ball like he did last time. George Purdue, man. I appreciate you coming through rocking with LV Live. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel, man. But I appreciate you coming through rocking with me on this New York Knicks weekly recap. I call it the LV Live lunchtime takeout show. So I appreciate you coming through rocking with me for that. So I think that's the biggest thing with Towns, right? Is that he's changed everything for what it is that we want to do, and changed everything about this offense. Even changed how Brunson plays. So now when he was out of that game in that in that Detroit game, it just offense did not look the same. And there was a lot of Brunson trying to play hero ball, and that's something we do not want to do. And that's why you brought in the addition of Towns, because offensively that's what we wanted to do. And right now, for me, I got him top 5 in MVP, easy. And of course, I think the front runners are going to be Joker. And of course, Giannis. Giannis is having an exceptional year. I think Giannis is like 30 and 11, something like that. His numbers are insane, what he's doing right now. And I think right there, you got to put SGA right in that conversation. And to me, right after that, I might have to put Towns. Might have to put Towns number 4, right after SGA. Excuse me. So I just think that he's just changing everything. And I think there's no question to me that he's going to be first team All NBA this year. If he continues to ascend on this level, I think he's going to be first team All NBA. I mean, he's just changed everything for this team in all aspects. And, that whole thing about him, being soft, I think that's all out the window now, especially playing in a market like New York. I think he's handled it very smooth with no problem. But also, too, guys, remember, I think this is more of a personal thing for him. This is bigger than just basketball. Of course, Towns talked about, his relationship with his mom. Of course, rest in peace to her, and, the impact that she had on him, and the Knicks being her favorite team. And also, too, him being close to his family, who's out here in the New York tri-state area on his mom's side. He's closer to them. They get to come to his games. So this is a lot more than basketball for him. So I think this is why you're probably seeing the best, version of Karl Anthony Towns, because I think he's in a place where he wants to be and feels like home. And he's really, really playing at a really high level. And I think location is key, guys. When you get to these guys, when they're getting a certain time in their career, you got to understand Towns has been in the league almost 10 years now. So, he's had great moments in this league, but I think here he's going to really take his game to the next level. And location is key, right? Because, I'll just use a perfect example. You see what DiVincenzo's doing out there in Minnesota. He doesn't look like the same player, right? And the reason I think that is because he felt comfortable being here, closer to home, playing, of course, with his friends, scenery, comfortability, all that stuff matters when you put guys on a team. And I think that when you move guys away from that, their play is going to dip a bit. I mean, of course, the elite guys, it doesn't really matter, but these guys are still human beings, man. And I think Towns being out here closer to his family, of course, he grew up in New Jersey, right? Went to high school out there. I think that plays a major role in why you're really seeing the best of Karl-Anthony Towns right now. And I have him right now is, top 4 MVP. Now, that could change, through the season. It could go up or it can go down. But the way he's playing right now, I don't see it changing at all. And then also, too, the big talks of, is he a 5? Is he a 4? I think he's a legit 5. I don't think he's a 4. I think playing at the 5 is where he's really able to open up his superpowers, right? Unleash his superpowers, shall I say. And I think he's been able to do that, man. And through that, you're starting to see just, the whole repertoire of what he can do as a player. And I think it's just changed us in so many different aspects. And it's also unlocked a lot of other great players, right? It's unlocked their skill set. Of course, Josh Hart, OG Anunoby's game has taken a leap. And it's also made Brunson to where Brunson's a great player now, man. I mean, he was always a great player, but I mean different layers of his game, right? As far as being a facilitator, Brunson's averaging almost 8 assists this year, 25 points. We know Brunson can fill it up offensively, but him just being a facilitator is just on a different level now, and that's all due to Towns. And so I think that, with the MVP consideration and the first team NBA consideration, you got to look at how he's done with this team and how he's changed this team and where we are, right? And that's why the talks are that the Knicks could be the team that can challenge Boston in the East, right? Now, of course, I think we have a ways to go. I don't think we're there just yet. But if we continue this offensively and we can kind of make that shift defensively to where we can kind of ascend, and we have started to get better, to where we can get in that top 10 range, I think we're going to really be a tough team to beat. And I think that that's where, that has to continue to go, man. We got to continue to ascend defensively. And that's when you have to talk about the pieces and all the things that, should possibly be back and should come around. And I think that, the addition of Mitch and Shamet is what I think is great. So with that, right, there's been reports out there that Landry Shamet is playing on a G League team. There were highlights out there of him. I wish I would have clipped them more. I apologize. But he looked good, knocking down shots in the G League. He looks like he's ready to go. So I think they're going to probably give him a couple more games at G League, and then they're going to move him right up. So that's another added gun coming off the bench. I believe Shamet's about 6'6", 6'7". He can shoot it. He can defend. So I think that's a much-needed punch coming off the bench, right? So that's good. So still waiting on Mitch. Atlantic Lion, man, what's going on, man? Appreciate you coming through rocking with LV Live on this Knicks weekly recap show, LV Lunchtime Special show. Appreciate you coming through rocking with me, sir. So the addition of Shamet, and of course, we're waiting for Mitch. I think that should help out the bench. Now, does that mean the Knicks still don't make a deal during this time? I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure if they do that. I'm not sure if they do, if they don't. So we got to see what happens. We got to see what happens and see what that looks like, because they might still make a deal. But remember, if they're going to make a deal, they got to give up something. Now, are you guys open to, sending, the reports are out there is that they're looking at Jericho Sims. Are you okay with sending out Sims and maybe getting back? I don't know who's out there, but I'm just saying maybe a guy like Larry Nance Jr., right? Are you interested in someone like him, right? Is that a possibility? So I'm just saying. So these are maybe moves. Remember, the salaries got to match, guys. So this is for Brock Aller and Leon once again to work their magic. So with Shamet coming back, and Mitch is right around the corner, what are you willing to do? What moves are you willing to make, right, to bring in somebody who's out there that's worth it, right? And who can also, too, if you bring this person on, are they going to be ready to contribute right away? Because that's what you want. You want a guy that's going to come contribute right away, who has size, athleticism, can defend. We have enough guys that can knock down shots on that, to help on that side of the court. And I think that that's the key, right? So who are you going to bring in? So, and that's at a, baseline discount. We need a discount on these prices, man. So we got to see exactly who we can get in, what deal we can make. So that's the good news with that on that front. Now, also too, man, this whole week recap, excuse me. What about Mikal Bridges, man? These last 8 games that he's had since that stinker that he had out there in Charlotte when he was getting roasted by everybody. These last 8 games, man, he's been playing extremely, extremely, extremely well. Man, listen, 19.5 points a game for him. He's shooting now 54% from the field and shooting 40% from 3. He's another person that has been playing extremely, extremely well as of late. You think these guys don't hear everything that people are saying? Of course they do, man. Of course they do. Let's take a look at his highlights, man, because he's been playing extremely, extremely well. You got to love what he's doing, man. You have to. And that's why these guys are pros. Because you got to be able to take what people are saying and you got to be able to dismiss it and say, all right, man, let's just lock in. Let's just play. And that's why, that time when all that stuff was going on, it was great to see Josh Hart coming out and really defending him. Because he said, listen, man, we know what he could do, but it's up to us to get him settled. And he's starting to get settled. He's playing extremely well. He had a great game the other night in Orlando, where he pretty much had Jalen Suggs on lockdown. He couldn't go nowhere. Bridges looked like the old Bridges, and also too offensively he was great. He had 17 points in that game. So I thought he's coming around in all aspects, and I think it's a comfortability that takes time, guys. It's once again, it's not just a thing to where you just say, okay, you know what, roll out the ball, let's just play. We know what you could do. That's it. You got to build camaraderie, and that's why also too during this time with. During this NBA Cup, these guys have a couple of days off. I believe it's 3 days off till Thursday. It's important for them to really build that chemistry and really kind of get an understanding of what their roles are, what their responsibilities are on certain sets, defensive sets, all those things. You got to build that. That's not something that just happens overnight. And I think that someone that's really had a big impact in a negative way because of the change has been Bridges. He goes from a guy that has the ball in his hand all the time to now a guy that really has to lean into what other people are doing, and now he's got to plan to play like the background role. Sometimes, some nights he's the 3rd option, some nights he's the 4th option, some nights he's the 5th option. It all depends on how the flow of the game goes. That's a big change from being, someplace for 2 or 3 seasons, and you was pretty much the guy with the ball in your hands and dominating, and being pretty much the number 1 option. That's a big change, man. And a lot of times you think that, okay, it's easy to change that. It's not that easy. It's really not. And I think that these first 26 games, man, have proven that. And so I love the change that he's made these last 8 games. I thought he's played very, very, very well. I loved how he looked last game. He looked really aggressive, even aggressive on the defensive end, kind of doing a little yapping out there too, showing a little character. I thought that was great. And the more he continues to build that confidence, the better he's going to be as a player. And because of that, the better we're going to be as a team. And I think that he has to continue to build that confidence, and continue to really believe that, listen, man, it's going to take time. We got to kind of get into the rhythm of, who we are as a team, what we need to do, what role does he play with that, and then take our game to the next level. And I think that through that, you're going to probably see the best Mikal Bridges, right? But it's going to take the team to do it, man. And Josh Hart said it too. Josh Hart said, listen, it's not his job to get accustomed to us. It's our job to get accustomed to him and get him comfortable being here. And I think that that's something they've started to do these last 8 games. And you've seen a change in his game to where he's really taking his game to the next level. And I thought it's been really, really, really good to see. But all in all, man, listen, I like where we're at. I'm happy where we're at. But I think that there's a lot of growing to still be done, because when you look at the legit teams out there, when you look at the Bostons, and to me, OKC is like, they're really, really good. right? So when you look at those teams, it's a good gauge because you realize, okay, how much further, we have to go as a team. And I think that it's a good thing, but it's a bad thing. But to me, it's all good because it's all a learning process for this team. And I think that the more you kind of realize, okay, where I need to get better, the better you're going to get. The more that, guys like Leon Rose, Brock Arley get certain pieces in here. Of course, that fit to what it is that we like to do. Also, that fits with Tibbs. And then it's just a very, very cohesive unit. But you're not going to really build that if you don't build character and chemistry, man. And I think right now we're still trying to figure out that character and chemistry. Certain games we do have it, but a lot of games we still to kind of go back into those old bad habits that we had earlier in the season. But that takes time to kind of shake, right? Those bad habits. So we got to see exactly how that looks going forward. So I was watching First Take earlier, man, and I heard there was a debate on there. I wish I had the clip, man. I apologize, man. LV's shaky this time on lunchtime. I feel like I should be eating right now. I'm on lunch break. So certain clips I don't have, so I apologize. There was a debate to where who was the best duo in the league, right? Is it Giannis? Is it Dame? Who is it? Is it Joker? Is it Jamal Murray? Is it, of course, Towns and Brunson? But what about Embiid and Maxey? Who do you think is the best is the best duo, man? Who do you got out there? And so, of course, it was, a lot of back and forth. People were kind of, they were just debating, of course, Stephen A. and, of course, Big Perk. And of course, Jason Tatum, I apologize, and Jaylen Brown, right? So, of course, everybody felt that it was Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, right? That's right behind Giannis and Dame. And, of course, Big Perk let it be known, like, listen, no. I got Jalen Brunson and I got Karl Anthony Towns right behind Jaylen Brown and right behind Jason Tatum. And I have to agree with Perk. I think people don't realize that all these other duos have been together at least 1 or 2 seasons. We just got together, man. These guys, Brunson and Cat, just got together, and they're both averaging 25 points a game. Cat, of course, being almost 14 rebounds, 13.9, and Brunson being at 17.7 assists, which is 8 assists. Now, yes, we know Dame Dollar's averaging 25. We know what Giannis is doing, averaging 30 and 11, right? We understand that. But these guys have had time to gel. Look what the Knicks are doing, being the number 1 pick and roll duo in the league right off the bat. 26 games in, and they're already one of the best offenses in the league, if not the best. So imagine what we could be within a season or 2. You add on more pieces to this team. So to me, that's why it's an easy take. You got to give it to the champs, right? You got to give it to Tatum. You got to give it to Brown. Because, of course, they won a championship. They've proven that they can do it. And they've kind of been on ascension for the last couple of years, getting to the Eastern Conference Finals, getting to the finals and losing, just always being in the hunt. So you got to give it to those guys. But to me, Brunson and Towns are right behind those guys. They've had this short amount of time, and I just read off the stats to you about how well they look and how they're explosive the Knicks offense is. This is probably the best offense I've ever seen the Knicks have, ever. And so that's a big, big part of, what Towns has brought. And now it's made Brunson's game totally different to where he's facilitating more, but still averaging 25 points a game. That's exceptional production from him. Kareem Grant, what's going on, man? Appreciate you coming through rocking with LV Live. Listen, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel, man. But I appreciate you coming through, coming to my channel, man. If you can, please subscribe, Kareem Grant. Thanks for coming through rocking with me. So I think that's the key with that, right? So just watching them and watching kind of how they look, man, these 26 games in, man, and just what this offense is, you got to be happy with what you see, man. You got to be really, really happy. And I think it only gets better. I don't even think it kind of simmers down. I think this is what the offense is going to be going forward, right? I truly, truly do. And I think that also, too, with the ascension of OG Anunoby, what it's done in his offense, Josh Hart, what it's done for his offense, he's top 2 or 3 in the league as far as field goal percentage. He's almost 60% from the field. He's also shooting the 3 ball way better than he's ever has in his career. That's all because of Towns. This 5-out spread offense has changed everything for the Knicks. And I think that's a big part to Towns. And of course, our Brunson has changed this game. So to me, they are the second best duo right behind Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, man. So we got to salute those guys and how well they're doing. Only 26 games in. So it's been exceptional to see for these guys. All right, guys, let's take a look at the schedule, man. Let's see what the schedule looks like. How we're going to feel going forward. This is the schedule here, man. So what everything looks like, right? So right now, you see guys coming up. We got the Timberwolves Thursday. Then we have New Orleans. Then we're back at home against the Raptors. We got San Antonio on Christmas Day. Then we're back in Orlando, Washington again. Then we got Utah at home. Then we're back at OKC, at Chicago, at Orlando again. Then we ended off with Toronto. These last, how many? What's the number here? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. These next 12 games, right? So you guys let me know. What does the schedule look like going forward? How are we going to look as a team? I think right now, based on this right now, if I'm breaking it down, I think we lose to OKC, right? But everybody else, I think we got, man. I think we got everybody else. But I know we're not going to go 11-1, right? I think we lose to Minnesota. I think that's going to be a very, very emotional game. I'll touch on that in a minute. But I think every other game, I think we should win. I think we should. A beautiful thing is we got Washington twice, man. So, that's an easy win right there, right? Orlando, I think, is going to – I don't know if Byron Sherrill will be back by then, but I think that should be a win. We got Toronto. Toronto's banged up. I don't know. I think Scotty Barnes is still out. So I think that should be a win. Chicago, they got us. I think that should still be a win. So, yeah, man, I think there's a possibility. Just to be on the safe side, I say we go 9-3 these last 12 games. I say 9-3. Right? So if we go 9-3 these next 12 games, that means we are 25-13. 25-13. So we're 25-13. How would you feel about that after that? Right? So I think we should be okay, man. I think we should be okay. And these are all winnable games. So I think that the Knicks should really take care of business here. And also, too, guys, remember, if we're able to get back a guy like Landry Shamet who can produce off the bench, right? So now you got 4 guys coming off the bench. So that can make our lineup coming off the bench 4 deep. So now Tibbs going to want to play 9 players. So that can help with time, help with guys, not feeling too tired during the game. Of course, help out with minutes. We got to get Mikal Bridges' minutes under control too, man. He's playing like way too much. So Tibbs has got to get better with that. But with the addition of Shamet and what he can bring offensively, because he can also knock it down. I think he's solid defensively as well. I think that could really help us. So we really kind of manage it. It kind of depends on, how far he is along the process, right? He's playing a G League game, played the other night, he looked pretty good. So we got to see how he looks and where he's at. If he can really bring a lot of stability here to this unit, that second unit, I think we should be okay. And I see 9-3. Atlantic Lion says we lose to Utah, Chicago, and OKC because that's what the Knicks do. Okay. I don't know about that, Atlantic Lion. I think we beat Utah. The reason why I said it is because we got them home. Chicago's a little tricky, right? Because they beat us at the Garden, and we should have beat them. We wasn't ready to play that game. I think we'll be ready when we go to Chicago. OKC, I see us losing to, and we're playing at OKC. But you never know, man. The Knicks get up for games like that, right? Look what we did to Denver. So the Knicks get up for games like this. So I think they'll be ready to go. Even with Minnesota, I think they'll lose just because of the momentum. And Ant Edwards is different, man. He's Ant-Man is different. And then I think it's going to be, really emotional for Dante and, of course, Randall. So we got to kind of, pay attention to that. So, but you never know, man. You never know. The Knicks get up for those games, man. The problem I have with the Knicks right now is they kind of play down to their competition. Like, that's the frustrating part I have with this team. They play down to their competition to where they should be playing a lot better. Like when they're playing teams like this, to where they take care of business with a lot of teams like a Utah, like a Chicago, right? Even like a team like Orlando that's shorthanded. Sometimes so what happened that time against Charlotte, right? So, but when they knew Orlando was coming to town and it was an NBA Cup and they were the best defensive team, the Knicks locked in and blew them out almost by 40 points, right? So once again, it's a Jekyll and Hyde thing with this team. So I think they're just trying to get some stability here to where they understand who they are. So I think it's going to be some time, man, but they got to get some stability and get some understanding of who they are and what they want to do and kind of get an identity, right? And I think that's why Tip said, these next couple of days, they can kind of get in there, get in a practice facility and kind of work on some things, because that's important, man. They haven't had no time to practice, guys. I said this on my show. They like those off days, one game on, one day off, one day, like all that stuff when they're in between games, traveling or whatever. They don't practice during those off days. They don't practice during that. So those guys aren't really building any chemistry. When they practice and go through things, that's like right before the game. So they're not really building any camaraderie, man. And that's big, guys. That's big. You can't dismiss that and act like that's not a big thing and that's kind of something you kind of diminish. That matters, man. When you're trying to build a team, when you're trying to build a championship team, you got to build camaraderie. I said this before on my show. Like, listen, look what Boston has done. Boston was able to get to where they're at, man, because they've had years to build that. Even OKC, right? Look how good they are. They've had years to build it. SGA didn't just get there. Lou Dort didn't just get there. Those guys were building towards that. So those guys got a couple of years underneath their belts to really build that camaraderie there. So you got to love what those teams have done to really get to where they're pretty much, to me, the best teams in the league. I honestly, you got to give Boston the edge, of course. But you got OKC they look unbeatable, man. I'm really being serious because they can defend, man. They can defend. I think they're tops in the league. If I'm correct, anybody correct me in the chat. Top in the league defensively in all categories. And they also have more steals. I'm gonna say it again. They have more steals than they have turnovers. I saw that stat today. That's insane, and that's how they are defensively. So they're tough, because the one thing about them, let's say they don't have it going offensively, they can lock in. So they're tough, man. They're really, really tough. Nick Yak, man, what's going on, man? Appreciate you coming through, rocking with LV Live tonight. If you haven't if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel, man. Thank you for coming through for the Knicks weekly recap show. Nick Yak says Brunson's a small point guard, Bridges a small forward, OG's a small forward, small at three positions is why we can't protect the paint and rebound, especially offensive rebounds. Nick Yak, man, I appreciate you coming through. That's a great point. Agreed. And I think a lot of that is why I said earlier, is why people are saying, no, what are we going to do in the trade market, right? Because we got to get size. Because not even just that, Nick Yak, when you have your bench unit and you have Campaign that's about 6'1", 6'2". Deuce is about 6'1", 6'2". And the only big person you have coming off the bench is Precious Achiuwa that's about 6'8". You need more size. Now, Shaman's coming in. Atlantic Line, thank you for the correction. Shaman's about 6'4". So, once again, you still need size. This game has always been about size. Big bank takes little bank all day long. That's always been the saying. So, in this game, that's all that matters. That's why we miss Mitch. And believe it or not, we also miss Ihart. Ihart was legit 7 feet, and you see what he's doing in OKC. That's why they paid him the money, because they thought he can kind of push us over to where we can really make a push for the championship run. So, we got to get bigger on the wings. I think interior with Mitch coming back, we'll be fine there. But we got to get some wings between the sizes of 6'7" and 6'10". That's what you need. Even like a guy like Dyson Daniels, right? That was a steal that they got for him. He's 6'8", man. I didn't know he's that big. I thought he was maybe 6'5". So he's 6'8". That's different, man. When you throw a guy that size out there who can rebound and block shots, even a guy like, Jalen Johnson, I believe the Hawks have, it's just size, man. So that's the thing. When you start getting into these teams, you got to match size on size. You have to do that, because that's what takes over the issues with the glass problem, right? And the help that you need in the interior. So what made Minnesota so great last year, they had 2 7-footers, right? So you take care of all that defensive stuff, blocking shots, everything. Gobert's a beast down there in that Baja. My Holy King, man, what's going on, man? Appreciate you coming through rocking with LV Live during this LV Live lunchtime takeout show. I appreciate you coming through, my Holy King, man. Hope all is well with you. Happy holidays to you and yours. So I think that that's the key, right? So when you have that size, man, that just changes everything on the glass. So now you can clean up all them rebounds. And I've said it before on my show, board man always wins, right? That's what Kawhi Leonard used to say. So you got to hit the glass. And Tibbs loves that. That's the big thing with Tibbs. Defend, rebound, block shots. That's what wins the game. And so you take care of that. These guys are so gifted offensively. That's going to take care of itself. But, the defensive part is what changes ball games. So I think that that's where, we have to get better with. But the only way we're going to get better, Nick Yak, is we got to get size, man. We got to get size. And we're kind of like, we don't really have much to operate from, man. We're kind of dealing with we're kind of, our bank account is on E, right? We're in a negative right now, man. So we, like I said earlier, it's up to Leon Rose and Brock Aller and those guys to really kind of get things going, man, because we're going to really need some help coming off the bench with some size. My Holy King says, you think Mitch is worth keeping? I think as soon as he becomes healthy, he should be traded. That injury can happen again. You know what I would do, my Holy King? To be honest with you, I would keep Mitch. Now in the off season, during when the season's over, of course, that's when you make your decision whether we're going to keep him or whether we're going to keep, whether we're going to let him go based on how he looks during the playoffs. And that's where you make that decision. And I think also too, you got to put parameters in that contract, very similar to what New Orleans did. I'm gonna touch on that in a minute with Zion, right? So they're gonna probably have to, if they're gonna keep Mitch, they're gonna have to readjust that contract based on that. But I think we got to see how he looks coming back, man. We just can't give up on him, because there's not 7-footers out there growing on trees, my Holy King. One thing he can do is block shots and rebound. So, he before he got injured, but first injury, he was the best in the league at doing that, right? So we got to see how he looks coming back. Because one thing you got to do too is if you trade him, what is he going to look like? Like what is his worth going to be? So Nick Yak said start Precious or as center, which moves OG to the 3, Bridges to the 2, and Brunson is small. And Hart helps the bench. Who needs help and still plays with starters? I like that. I've heard that too. To bring Precious in and put Precious at the 4, and of course Towns at the 5 to help out on the glass. I could see that. That's a possibility. But we're gonna lose something offensively though, because Josh Hart is he does all the little things. But I can see that. I can see that. That's a possibility. My Holy King says, but Mitch can get injured just that fast. He might not make the playoffs. I think they're going to monitor him, my Holy King. I think they're going to monitor him and monitor how he looks. I don't think it's going to be a thing to where they just have him playing like 30 minutes. I think Mitch is going to be his minutes are going to be limited. I was saying between 20 to 25 minutes a night. And based on how he plays and based on how his ankle is holding up. So I think that's going to play a major role in regards. They're going to monitor him, man. We're going to monitor him and see how he. But I do agree with the injury issues. I agree with that. You're not wrong. But the issue is that what are we going to get for him right now? If you tell me you're going to send off Mitch and we can get back someone like iHeart, then great, right? That in a perfect world, right? But that's not what's out there, man. No one's willing to really give up. Probably like one of their aspiring young pieces, because that's what we would want back for a injury-prone center, right? Like you got to think what you're going to get back to and what people are going to want. And based on that, and once again, the Knicks don't really have much to offer, man, because we're close to the second apron, man. So we don't really have much to really move around. So, we're kind of stuck to where we have to kind of see what Mitch is. Nick Nack says, Mitch helps paint production and rebound, especially offensive rebounds. We don't get, and next year he's going to be 13 million. Yeah, he's gonna be making 13 million, man. That's what I'm saying. So once again, we got to see exactly what he looks like, what he's gonna be, right? Like that's major. So it's gonna be tough, man. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. We got to see what he's gonna. We got to see what he looks like coming back. We got to see, because once again, his minutes have got to be monitored. Because I know what the Knicks want to do. They want to bring him back, and they want to see exactly how he looks with Towns out there, right? In certain matchups, right? So they want to kind of use the same type of thing that they did with Minnesota when they had a Gobert and Towns out there. And that made them the best defensive team in the league last year. So I know that bringing Mitch back, Tibbs is going to want to see that lineup and what that looks like, especially on the defensive end. And if we're potent defensively when Mitch comes back, I think that changes everything. My Holy King says, do you think the Knicks are going to trade Precious? I don't know, man. I don't know. If they make that move, it's gotta be for someone legit. Because Precious is doing really, really well producing off the bench. And trust me, a lot of people, especially contenders, would want someone like Precious coming off the bench. So he's a keeper for right now for what the league is. So I don't know, especially with his contract, why would you just ship him off? The only way you ship him off if you can get somebody legit. But who's willing to give up? You know what I mean? Because they're going to want him, Mitch, and picks and all that other stuff. They're going to want something really expensive. So, but what teams are willing to give up like the young pieces like that? So, with that being said, that kind of leads me into my next thing. There's a fire sale going on out there in out there in New Orleans, if you guys don't know. Knicks 100 GM, man. What's going on, man? Appreciate you coming through, rocking with LV Live for this lunchtime takeout show. I appreciate you, Knicks 100 GM. It's my guy right there, man. He's a Sims fan, shall I say. He supports Sims and thinks Sims should be starting over Precious and everybody. So everybody give Knicks 100 GM some love up in here. So fire sale right now is going on in New Orleans, man. So New Orleans is putting everybody out there. They want what's his name? What's the kid from Atlanta? He just slipped my name, man. I was like, okay, look. They want Zion. They got Zion, right? They got Zion on the market. They got Brandon Ingram on the market, right? Who else they got? It's basically everybody except for Trey Murphy, Herb Jones, and some other guy. I forget. So they got a fire sale, right? So question I have for everybody in here, right? All my day ones who've been rocking with LV Live. Do you go get Zion? Do you make the move to go get Zion? I ain't lying. CJ McCollum. Who's the other kid? Remember we wanted him to come here last year? I forgot his name, man. I apologize, man. The kid he came from Atlanta. He was used to play for the Spurs. It slipped my mind, man. I apologize. Do you bring Zion here? Do you bring him? Because the rumor out there is this. He left CAA because he wanted to come here. DeJounte Murray, thank you, Atlanta Klein. Appreciate you helping LV Live out. DeJounte Murray, too. They just got him, and they're putting him out there for sale. He left CAA because he said, listen, man. Khaled Pasha, man. What's going on, man? Appreciate you coming through rocking with LV Live on this LV Lunchtime Takeout show, man. Appreciate you coming through rocking with me. He said he left them because he wanted to come to New York. And, of course, Leon and Leon's son or whoever was trying to work some things out, but it didn't work. So Zion said, yo, I'm out of here. Because remember the rumors that were out there was that he wanted to come to New York to play with RJ, right? That was the rumor, to bring that back, that Duke connection. Remember, a couple years ago, that's what people were saying. I don't know how true it was, but I'm just saying, right? That's what was being stated. So now, I don't know. He's got this whole hamstring thing. Like, we know what's going on, right? Question I have. Do we make that deal? Do we make that deal, and do we kind of say, okay, look, man, We know you want to get rid of Zion. What are you willing to give up? Because the contract, I heard they like locked up the contract to where like he's not getting like any guaranteed money like these next 2 years. Like they locked because he didn't meet the stipulations, the injury and the weight issue. So they put certain things in that contract to where, you know, like if he doesn't meet certain things, then he's not going to get like his money, like something crazy. It's on those lines. I'm missing some things, but that's pretty much the gist of it. So do you take a gamble on Zion? Do you bring him here? Do you bring Zion here with his hamstrings and all his overweight stuff? Do you bring him? Do you bring him to the Garden? And do you put him next to Towns at the 4 and put OG Anunoby at the 3 and Bridges at the 2? Do you do that? My man Vibes, what's going on, man? Appreciate you coming through rocking with LV Live during my Knicks weekly recap show. Haven't seen you in a while, so Herp all is well with you. Happy holidays, Vibes. This is what Vibe says. Vibe says this is what we do. Vibe says bring him. He says bring him to the Garden. I don't know, man. I don't know. Because here's the thing, right? It's got to be at like a super discount for Zion, right? The thing with Zion is this. How bad is his hamstrings? Can he come back and play? Or is this just a ploy to get him out of there? He doesn't want to be there. Is this that? Is he really hurt, or he's been trying to, because I heard he's been trying to get out of New Orleans for the longest. Heard he doesn't like it there. So is this like is he playing coy, man? Is he doing this because he doesn't really want to play there? Because I heard he wants to be in the Garden, man. He wants to come to the Mecca. That's where he wants to come. So my thing is, I don't know, man. I don't know. But I like that combination with him and Towns, man. Knicks 100 GM says Zion is 6'6". He plays bigger than that, though, man. He's 6'6", but he plays like he's 6'10". He's ferocious in that Baja. That's all you need him to do. That's all you need him to do. You don't need him to come out and shoot threes. You don't need him to do that. He's ferocious in that Baja, man. He is a problem. He's like Barkley, man. Remember, Barkley was only 6'4", but he played like he was 6'8", 6'9". Those guys are different, man. So imagine him next to Towns, man. Imagine him next to Towns. So I don't know, man. It's very intriguing. I'll say that. Cleopatra says he ain't got no foot or knee issues. You can fix hamstrings over time. So not worried about hamstring. And if you can get him on a buyout, you just need him healthy for the playoffs. Look at that. Earl Garris, what's going on, man? Appreciate you coming through rocking with LV Live during this LV Lunchtime Takeout show. Khalid says, just get him healthy for the playoffs, man. He said, just get him healthy for the playoffs and get him on a buyout. That's what these guys are saying, man. They want Zion in the Garden. They want him in the Garden, people. They want him in the Garden. They want to bring him to the Garden. My Holy King says Zion will eat more if you bring him to New York. Okay, now check it out. Eat in what sense? Pause. Right? Are we speaking of getting busy on the court, or are you speaking of like Coochie Frios and, you know what I'm saying, up and in the Jamaican spots? What are you talking about? I'm confused, because remember, that was his issue before. He was overweight. He's about 320 out there, in New Orleans. And they got really good eats out there. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying. So are you saying that, or you say he's going to get busy in that Baja here in the city? Which one, man? Help me, my Holy King. My holy king says getting busy in the eateries. Yeah, man. See, that's the issue. That's the issue, right? Is he going to be able to stay away from the coochie fritos, man? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about? Them Spanish spots, especially in the Bronx and uptown in Harlem, where I'm from. You know, it's crazy. Or on the Jamaican spots, you know what I'm saying? Getting the beef patties with the cocoa bread. You know what I mean? He's going to be up there just getting busy, man. Getting the stew chicken, wilding out. Nick Nash is 280 pounds or 300. He will tear up that hamstring. Yeah, I mean, that's what we're worried about, man. That's what we're about. Tim, what's going on, man? Appreciate you coming through rocking with LV Live during this next weekly recap. Appreciate you, sir. Tim, happy holidays, brother. Happy holidays, my man. Nick Neck says Precious isn't even on the floor during horrible runs. But I agree. Playing Sims or Akaporte with Cat would fix defensive problems and still have 4 scorers on the floor. Nick Nack, man, I like that, man. I agree with that. I agree with that. You know, if not Sims, I like Akaporte, man. I like Akaporte more because you could put him at the 5 next to Towns, right? But I don't, once again, I don't know if Tibbs has tried that yet. Once again, right? This is the important part of like practice time and building that camaraderie. I don't think Tibbs has had time to really break that down and see what that looks. Now we know Tibbs is a gym rat. He watches tape, but he still got to sleep. So if you have an off day, you don't really have the time to kind of play it out in practice to see how it looks because he's just not going to throw it out there. Tibbs is not going to do that. So he's got to see that during practice time, and that's why these 3 days off are really good because the Knicks are still building that chemistry, man. And so I think that's where you got to kind of see that. But I do like the idea. Tim says Zion might be the piece we need to get us to the chip. I think him and Towns will play great together. Tibbs will definitely make sure he gets and stays in shape. Yo, man, see, that's the thing, Tim. And I'm glad you said that, man, because something tells me, Tim, that I think Zion's playing coy, man. I think he's playing I think he's doing this on purpose. I don't think he wants to be out there, man. I don't know how bad his hamstrings are. You know, this whole thing about him leaving CAA because he was mad they didn't make the move to get him to New York. I don't know if he wants to be in New Orleans, man. I don't think I forced in their hand to trade him, but I think he wanted to go a certain place, and I think he wanted to go to the Garden. I think he wants to be here, man. And they didn't do it. And so he's like, all right, well, I ain't going to play. I think that's what this is. Now, allegedly, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to say this is definite. You know what I mean? I'm just saying there's no way you're getting hamstring problems like every 2 weeks, man. Like he's been hurt more than he's been played. Like it's insane what's going on with him. It just doesn't make any sense to me. It just doesn't. Brandon Howard, man, what's going on, man? Appreciate you coming through rocking with LV Live. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel, man. But I appreciate you coming through rocking with me and my crew during this LV lunchtime takeout show. Appreciate you coming through, man. Knicks 100 James said it's not Zion's weight. His legs have a deformity. Come on, man. Your legs, your weight impacts your legs. Knicks 100 GM. Come on, man. I honestly don't think he wants to be there. I don't think he wants to be in New Orleans. And I think that's played a major role with this injury issue and a lot of different aspects with him. I think that's played a major role. It's just something in me just telling me I don't think he wants to be there. And then this whole thing with the CAA piece, I think that's played a major role. And then maybe he's upset because I think that was his plan. I think his plan was to try to get out of New Orleans, and I think he thought they was going to make that happen, and it didn't. And now he's upset. And so I think that's where all this is coming from. Brandon Howard says, I want to see that preseason bench rotation of Cam, Deuce, Shamet, and Precious. Well, here's the thing, Brandon. Shamet is back. I mean, so he's not on the team, but he's playing in the G League. I saw some highlights. Like I said, I wish I would have had the clips. I wish I could try to see if I can get some clips, man, up here now. Let me see if I can get some clips of Shamet. Let me see here. Let me see here. Let me see if I can get some clips, man. See if I can get some clips. I don't think it's gonna let me do it, man. I'm trying to do it. Let me see. Try to get some clips, man. But that's what Tibbs has been waiting for. Also, too, Brandon, you got to add in Mitch to that too. Mitch to that circle. So I think that's big, right? So that's what Tibbs has been wanting to see, right? He's been wanting to see what that lineup looks like and what that's going to be. But Shamit's back, man. He's playing with the G League team. He looked really well in the highlights. So we got to see exactly, what that becomes. But that's a big piece coming off the bench, man. That's big, because he could score. He could score, and you need that. And he's got some height. So he's bigger than 6'2", he's 6'4". So that can help with Precious. And then also, too, that can alleviate some minutes, man, because Bridges is playing too much. So that can definitely help in that aspect. Tim says, isn't Mitch from New Orleans? If he is, I think sending him home with Precious and maybe Kolick for Zion. What do you think, Elvie? That's too much, man. That's too much, Tim. That's too much. And the reason why I say that's too much, Tim, because who you got coming off the bench, Tim? That's the biggest issue now with us, is that we have nobody coming off the bench and we don't have any size coming off the bench. So you send Precious, that's our big wing. He could play the 4, the 5, and the 3, right? And he rebounds. A healthy Mitch is a monster in that body. He's 7 feet, 7'1", actually. So now you're bringing that to bring Zion, who hasn't really proven much, and he's got injury issues, and he doesn't have the size. I don't know, man. That's a lot. That's a lot to give up. Once again, everyone is just saying here and it's here. Let me say it's a buyout. You know what I'm saying? Like a buyout. We get him on a sale price. You know what I mean? We go down to the outlet. You know what I'm saying? That's where you go to the Nike outlet. You get the Jordans out there for cheap. You're not trying to pay $100 for them. You want to get like them joints for like $50, $40. Now we good. That's what you want to get him for. But not something like that. You know what I'm saying? That's a lot. Larry Ryan says, keep Zion away from the eats in New York. Yeah, you got to keep him out there. You got to keep him out the heights, man. Out there. You got to keep him out there and away from the chicks, too. You got to keep him away from all the girls. You can't let him go to starlets. Keep him away from the bottle girls. Keep him away from all that stuff. All that stuff that was getting JR in trouble, keep Zion away from it. Because remember, he had other issues going on off the court that was crazy. You remember all his personal issues he had going on. So we got to keep him focused in the city. Atlantic Line says, we are hard capped at the second apron. So we have to trade more salary than we receive. We have the core of this team here. If we want a real medium-sized fish, Mitch is going to get traded. Yeah, Mitch has got a big salary, man. Mitch has got a big salary. So we got to see what that looks like. Remember, Mitch and Herb Jones make the same amount of money. Agreed. But you know what it is? I'm going to tell you what it is with the whole Mitch piece, guys. It's the size, man. It's the size. You want to get back a big wing or guard or center. You need somebody. If you're going to send out Mitch, we want somebody 6'10" and up. Because one thing you can't coach is size, man. And rebounding and block shots. And that's what he does. That's why I'm not too crazy about giving up Mitch right away. I want to see what he looks like when he comes back. But that's the one thing we're struggling with right now is size. So I'll put it like this. If you're going to give up Mitch, then we got to get back someone like Walker Kessler or something like that. Or of course, my dream scenario would be to bring back iHeart. Of course, it's not going to happen, but you know what I'm saying? It's got to be something like that. But it can't be we're getting back like a Herb Jones, all these small wings. Like, we need somebody with size, man. Because the only 7-footer we have now, is Towns. So we need size, man. Simpson Shamet looks good last night, man. The shoulder looked like it was heading in the right direction to be back here for squad. Yeah, man. So we got to see what that looks like. Brandon says, that's why I mentioned that. Our bench smacked Charlotte's starters. Yeah, when they was back, yeah, man. Agreed. That's what I'm saying. I agree with you, man. That looks good. We just gotta see what Shaman looks like, man. You know, he's rehabbing with the G League team. He looked good the other night in highlights. So we got to see what that's going to look like, right? So that's going to be very interesting to see. But if we can get him back and he can produce, and we get Mitch back, and we maybe get somebody, like I said, on a fire sale, a buyout deal or something like that, a big wing that no one wants. Yo, hey guys, you know what I like too? I kind of saw that game last night, and you see the Nets are doing a fire sale, right? Yo, what about Dorian Finney, man? Remember he got feisty with the Knicks. Remember when we was playing them? Yo, I like Dorian Finney, man. The Nets are doing a fight. Yo, I like him. He's big too, right? He's like a Precious. He's big. He's about 6'8", 6'9". He's a banger. He rebounds. He can hit the three from time to time. What about him? You see, the Nets are packing it in. So what about them, man? Are they willing to make another deal with the Knicks? And then like I says, it depends for me on if we can get 70% of Mitch's production from Akaporte. If Akaporte can do that, then I say trade for Herb Jones and make us a defensive monster. Mitch's injuries is too much. Okay, so you're kind of putting a lot of this on Akaporte, right? Is Tibbs going to do that though? Is Tibbs going to put all of his chips pushed up front to get rid of Mitch, who he loves? He loves Mitch, for a young center rookie that's still you're still trying to figure out what you have with him, right? Because how big is Akaporte? He's not 7 feet. He was 6'10", 6'11", right? He's not 7'1", right? So that's a big gamble. I'm being honest with you. That's a big gamble for a rookie. That's a big gamble for a proven big man in this league. Nick Yak says, with a full team Mitch back, Tibbs isn't playing more than 9 starters. Mitch, Precious, McBride, Payne, Shamet. That's 10. No way we're all playing. With a full team Mitch back, he's going to play all those guys. He's going to play them. He's going to play them. I guarantee you he plays them. And the reason why he likes all those guys. He likes all of them. The one that may be out of the rotation with that is Payne. Deuce is definitely playing. He's probably the first person to come off the bench. Precious is definitely playing because he comes in for OG Anunoby. Mitch is definitely playing because he comes in for Cat. Shamet is definitely going to play. Tibbs has held out things for Shamet, so he loves Shamet. So he's going to probably come in for Josh Hart. The person that's going to be out is going to be Cameron Payne, but I could see him also playing too. I would not be surprised if Tibbs goes 10, man. I wouldn't be surprised because all those guys are good, and Tibbs likes all those guys. And all those guys right there, all those guys you just named, all 5 of those guys, Nick Nack, are great defensive players. They get after it defensively, and that's how Tibbs keeps you on the floor. Nixon Honey said Capella makes the most sense. They're not getting rid of Capella, man. They're not getting rid of him, man. You're gonna have to give up a lot. They're playing really well, man. They're playing really well. They're not gonna give him up to the Knicks. That's not gonna happen. Coach, what's going on, man? Appreciate you coming through rocking with LV Live during this Knicks weekly recap show. They're not gonna give up Capella. No way. And then, like I said, let's think about the 5 that might be available in the buyout market. Drummond gets traded and bought out. DeAndre Jordan, no, man. He's a shell of himself. And Drummond looks like he looks really bad. He looks terrible. But everybody looks terrible in Philly right now, man. So I don't know if you do. Yeah, I don't know if you do a deal for Drummond, man. He's got to show because Drummond's look bad, man. He has no elevation no more. He's just a shell of himself. But he's still big, though, man. He's a great rebounder, right? Atlantic Line, you got me thinking, man. Maybe Drummond, man. Maybe Drummond. Capella exploring. It frees up money, and we can get a vet for this playoff run. I don't think they give up Capella, man. Disc Rover, man. What's going on, man? Appreciate you coming through rocking with LV Live on this lunchtime takeout show. Disc Rover says, I don't think Dorian Finney for the sale fact. He tried to square up against. The Nigerian Prince. I remember he said that too on our other show. That was funny. He's funny. Yo, he's a good player though, man. He's solid, man. He's solid. And he brings that attitude that you need, right? And he's big too. Khalid Pasha said Dorian Finney's only 6'7", and he doesn't rebound well, but he can shoot and play defense. Yeah, but see, here's the thing, man. All right, he may not be able to hit the glass, right? That great. But he defends. So if you get another defender out there, it frees up a guy like Precious to get rebounds, who was a really good rebounder, right? And let's say you have, I don't know, him out there with Mitch or something like that. You know what I'm saying? That can clean up the glass for him. So I'm just saying, but he brings a lot of intangibles though, passion and size. Khalid is what we need. Nick Nack says, remember, Mitch saved a first-round exit. Mitch played important minutes and closed the games down, not Hartenstein, who got torched in both series, even the Pacers. Yeah, man. Look, listen, man. I love Mitch. I'm not, that's something I don't really want to do, because I want to see what he is when he comes back, man. Mitch is really, really, really good, man. So we gotta see exactly what he's going to turn out to be, man. Coach says Mitch isn't going anywhere. See that? Hey, listen, man. Look, everybody in here, man. If you're new to the channel, Coach was the one that said Cat for the longest, man. So now he's saying Mitch isn't going anywhere. I think he's got an inside, I don't want to say he's got an inside, source or something like that. But Coach is on the inside because he knew Cat was coming to the Garden. He knew it, and now he's saying Mitch isn't going anywhere. So I think Coach knows something. Tim says the Lakers look like they're having problems out there. What do you think of them blowing up that squad? Do you think AD or LeBron would play good with Towns or with Towns, LV? LeBron's not coming to the Garden. It's not happening. Yo, I love Anthony Davis, man. I love Anthony Davis. I said this during the summer. And people looked at me like I was crazy. I love Anthony Davis, but he's too expensive, man. He's too expensive. Too expensive. Do I think we will be probably top 2 and 3 in the league? We're top 5 now, and top 10 right now in the league. If we get Anthony Davis, man, that bumps us right there to top 3. Top 3. Problem is with them is that him and Towns are basically the same player. So you got to figure out how you would do that. But he's a better defensive player than Towns. But he needs the ball like Towns, right? So that would kind of be like it's weird. It's like Randall and RJ, same type of deal, right? So that would be tough. Coach says the 70% of Mitch replacement idea never works. See, Noel Noel is terrible. I'm glad he's gone, man. He was bad. Knicks 100 Jim said Mitch is useless. We need to move him now while his stock will be up. So Knicks 100 Jim, who do we put in that position? Sims. He wants Sims to play every part of the game, everybody. So Knicks 100 Jim, we move Mitch. Who goes in that slot? Sims? I just want to hear you say it. Tell us Sims. Because we know that's what you want to say. You want to say Sims. Knicks 100 Jim said, we win without Mitch every single year. It's time to move on. He hates Mitch. He wants Sims in there, everybody. Look, here we go. Here we go. Stop saying that over the air, LV. He's getting upset with me, everybody. It's all love over here, man. LV Live Show, man. Let's see who we got here. Let's see. I appreciate everybody coming through rocking with me, man, on this lunchtime show, man. I truly do, man. I do this for y'all, man. So I appreciate everybody coming through rocking with me. It doesn't go underappreciated, man. Happy holidays to you and yours. Also, everybody in here rocking with me. Okay, let me see. This Rover. Mitch isn't useless. He's a top defensive center. Problem is, how long can he play for us before he gets injured again? This Rover, I love this. And I totally have to agree with it. And this is exactly how I feel about Mitch. That's where, to me, this Rover, the minutes are important, right? So you got to play Mitch anywhere between 20 to 25 minutes a night. I think that's very, very important for him. And then I think you got to look for moments in the game where you could play him and Towns together, right? So I think that's important too. So all those things have to be monitored, right? He's a big man. This is what happens with a lot of big men. They get injured. Look what's happening to Embiid. That's a perfect story of what it is when you're a big man. These guys start to break down, man. So, I think he's more than usable, man. Give him 20, 25 minutes a night, depending on how he feels or how he plays, give him 15 to 20 minutes a night. As long as he comes in there, block shots, rebounds, does what he does, and then I think it would be good, be serviceable. Next to 100 Jim says, the hype of foolishness. Embiid was on one leg. Yeah, man. My holy kid says, Mitch has Embiid problems. He does, man. He does. That's why you got to monitor his minutes. You got to monitor his minutes, but I love what he brings, man. I love what he brings. He doesn't need the ball to score. You just need to block shots. The problem is they're going to have to rework that contract, and they're going to have to put some things in there that talk about like injuries and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? They're going to have to do that. Knicks 100 Jim said, the journeymen come in here and show Mitch what hunger is. I'm done with Mitch. He wants Mitch out of here, people. Atlantic Line says, I love Mitch and I want him to be here and win here, but if Herb Jones is on the table, I'm making a trade with no second thought. Ooh, hear that? Herb Jones is tough, man. But I like Trey Murphy better, though, man. I like Trey Murphy better. Joe Brown, what's going on, man? Appreciate you coming through, rocking with LV Live on this LV Lunchtime Takeout show, man. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe, man. But I appreciate you coming through, rocking with me and my crew today. Okay. Nick Yak says, what did Mitch ever back up since his rookie year? You don't understand how important Mitch has been for us. Listen, man, I think Mitch is very, very important to this lineup. I really do. And I think that we just have to see what he is. But I think, with his production and the monitoring his minutes, right? I think that'll be great. I think this will be a better team when you get, the addition of Mitch, Precious, of course, Landry Shamet. I think will be big. If they can pick up another wing or a big man from a trade, or once again, a buyout, fire sale, whatever, that's about 6, 7 and up. I think we're good. And I think we're going to be fine. But I think it's going to be really, really important to really look for that, because we need size, man. We need size, and that's one thing Mitch can bring. He's an imposing force in that middle, and I think it'll be great for that second unit, because right now, guys, our second unit is getting dominated, man. We're at the bottom of the league as far as scoring, right? I told you, I talked about that, me and Ant on Knicks Nation, right? So that's something that's got to be fixed, man. You know what I'm saying? That's something that's got to be fixed. Atlanta Lions says that's just gave Trey Murphy a bag. I don't think they were. Yeah, I know he just got the bag, man. He got his rookie extension, but to me, he's the one. He's the one. If the Knicks could ever get something like that, that's the guy. I like him way better than Herb Jones, and he's big. How big is Trey Murphy? He's about 6'8". He's big, man, and he's better than Bridges. You know what I'm saying? So if we can get somebody like that, but once again, those guys are expensive, man. Trey Murphy is the get. Agreed. That's the guy, man. But he just got his money, man. So he's not going nowhere. And he's not in the fire sale. Neither is him and Herb Jones. The Pelicans want to build with those guys. So those guys are off the table. So I know a lot of people want to talk about those guys. I'm not even mentioning those guys because I know they're not even that's who they're gonna build around is those guys. Nick Yak says Mitch doesn't have bad knees. He broke 2 bones and is rehabbing from last year. And B twisted his injury, otherwise name another injury. He's had, you know what he's had, Nick Yak, he's had like a lot of like just little issues going on here and there, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? He's never had a full season where he's just been really healthy and not had problems. Right. And so that's the thing. You know what I mean? Well, but we haven't seen him yet with a person like Towns, right? To where Mitch is playing backup minutes, right? So if he's playing backup minutes to Towns, let's see what Mitch looks like. To where much is not expected from him. Just play 20, 25 minutes, and that's it. To where he's not expected to play 30 plus minutes. So to me, that's what I want to see. Knicks 100 GM says, all this hype yet, Mitch ain't never averaged 10 rebounds in his career. It's valid points, man. Valid points. Knicks 100 GM says, I've been here 7 years, y'all. Enough is enough. Yeah, he wants Mitch going, man. He wants Mitch out of here. My Holy King says, Trey Murphy is 24. Yeah, he's 24, man. But that's why they locked him in, man. He's not on the fire sale, people. He's not on the fire sale. He's locked in with them, and so is Herb Jones. That's the future. Tim says, I like the center from Washington. He's tough on the boards and can score. I think he would be a good fit coming off the bench. You're talking about Valanciunas, right? Valanciunas is all right. He's okay. He's not the intimidator that Mitch is, though, Tim. You know, Mitch blocks shots. You know what I'm saying? He's a monster at that Baja. You know what I'm saying? So when you go to the rack, you got to – Mitch is punching everything. So that's what changes things with him and Mitch to me. You know what I'm saying? So I would prefer Mitch over Valanciunas just because of what Mitch does. I don't really want my center really scoring outside of Cat. I want you to be an intimidator in that Baja, and that's it. Block shots, rebound, because we got enough guys that can score the ball. Disc Rover says, what I really want to see is the big mermaid getting some turn and burn. But Tibbs doesn't play rookies unless we're up 40 in the final 5 minutes. The big mermaid. Who is that? Yo, who is that, man? Who is? I don't even know who that is. Nick Yak says, Rich had Randall 4 years pulling down 10 to 11 rebounds. Cat has a 6'7" power forward and pulling down 5 boards. Agreed. So wait, this Rover, you call Acapulco the big mermaid? Why? Yo, only here on the LV Live show. Oh man, my man, the big mermaid. That's wild, man. That's wild. Knicks 100 GM says, let's say Mitch got hurt again. Then what are we supposed to do? That's this all over again. Yeah. Listen, man. Listen, Knicks 100 GM, you're valid in your points. I'm not saying you're wrong about anything. And Mitch's injuries issues are concerned. But what I will say is this. We haven't seen Mitch be a backup center to where you got another imposing, legit guy that's way better than him that's playing ahead of Mitch, to where the minutes aren't forced onto Mitch. So I think that's big to see. I want to see what that looks like, and I want to see him with Towns. I think that deserves to be, to be done. So yeah, but listen, guys, that's my show, man. That's my Knicks weekly recap show, man. Listen, I appreciate everybody coming through, rocking with me, man, during this lunchtime LV special show. Appreciate everybody, man. I truly, truly do. Trust me, I do this for y'all. So it's truly, truly appreciated, man. So listen, everybody, please hit that like, share, subscribe button, hit that like button, people. All right. Also, too, if you're watching this on replay and you're new to the channel, please subscribe. And also, too, please leave comments because I do respond to comments. All right, peace. And listen, people, I'll be back Thursday to talk about that Minnesota Timberwolves game. So please come through and check that out. All right. But listen, that's my show. I'm LV Live, and I'm out of here, people.